Hello everybody, dudes and slackers, lovers and haters, here I am once again, and yeah, you already know what's coming. Today is tutorial day. I'm gonna show you how to build this Oblivion Gate with a Nether Portal. It's a relatively simple build, and it's definitely gonna look pretty cool in your world. So don't forget to smash that like button to support the channel, or else a creeper will blow you up. In this tutorial, we're gonna work a little differently. Since this nether portal is more like a kind of sculpture, sometimes it's easier to understand the build by seeing it layer by layer, instead of doing everything in first-person camera. So, we're gonna have 3 simultaneous images on the screen. Yeah, crazy, and maybe it won't work, but it's worth a shot. In the left image, a diagram showing the block placement layer by layer. In the right image, the first person view. And in the main image, the structure seen from the outside. Afterwards, let me know what you think of this setup, and enough chit chat. Let's get to the materials list. As you can see, the materials list is relatively simple, and you shouldn't have too many problems collecting them. The build is quite textured, but you can simplify it and use more basic materials if you prefer. Alright, let's start with the nether portal. This part is ridiculously easy, and it'll serve as the foundation for our stone sculpture that we'll build around it. The dimensions of the portal are 15 blocks wide, base, by 21 blocks tall. After that, light it up and off to the nether we go! Easy peasy, and that wraps up our tutorial on how to build a nether portal. Thanks, smash that like button, and see you in the next video. Okay, sorry. Terrible joke, I know. I'll try to do better. Anyway, moving on. Now let's start working with both cameras and at the same time the footprint of the build. I think this makes it easier to understand all the steps. The dark blocks in the diagram on the left corner are where the portal is positioned. You'll make a rectangle with dimensions of 8 by 9 on each side of the portal. Sounds complicated when said like that, but as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. The key thing to remember, this build is almost symmetrical, except for a few details at the end that won't be. So basically, just replicate what you do on one side on the other side. With that said, let's move on to layer 2. It's exactly the same as the first one, so there's not much room for error. Let's speed up the video a bit, otherwise you'll be bored to death. From now on, the video will be 3 times faster, but if you have trouble keeping up, remember that YouTube has the function to slow down the video, and the pause button is also a great ally. Layer 3 is a bit different. It loses the corners of the rectangles. This will help make our structure more organic and varied. Then, in layer 4, the rectangle decreases in size with dimensions of 6 by 7 blocks. This tapering continues in the 5th layer, which is exactly the same as the previous one. So let's move on to the 6th layer. It keeps the width of 6 blocks but gets a bit shorter. Now it's 5 blocks long. I also start adding some purple blocks, which will serve to texture and decorate our Oblivion nether portal. Layer 7 is exactly the same as the previous one. Here I use some blocks that emit light. This will help highlight the portal, especially at night, and prevent you from unintentionally creating a mob farm around your portal. Layer 8 starts to have some protrusions, and now you really need to pay attention to properly position these blocks, or it'll turn into a mess. Sure, the idea of the protrusions is to make the build very organic, but if you place them randomly, it'll end up more chaotic than organic. Layers 9 and 10 follow the same concept. Remember to follow the guide in the upper corner of the screen, so your chance of making a mistake will decrease drastically. For layer 11, another froglite block. Depending on your game level, I know these blocks can be a bit tough to get, but there are several other alternatives for light source blocks, so you can look for those. Or you can even leave this block empty and put a lantern in there. The effect will be cool too. Layer 12 closes the decorations and we're back to a simple rectangle, 6 by 5 blocks. Layer 13 is the same as 12, just repeat the same steps. Pretty straightforward, just pay attention to the layer count and there's not much room for error. Now for layer 14, our rectangle starts to grow and becomes a square of 7 by 7. We're starting to prepare the pillar to close the portal arch. So this preparation in the pillar area to better define the structure. Layer 15 follows exactly like the previous one, just with the addition of another light source. And if you've made it this far, know that we're practically halfway there. Soon the arch will start to close and the shape will become quite interesting. Now the pattern is going to be practically the same, but without the blocks in each corner of the squares. It might seem a bit weird, but trust the process. Gradually the shape will take on an organic aspect and become quite interesting. The next layer is number 17, don't stop the count. Now our pillar gets narrower again with 6 by 5 blocks. Now the hardest part is going to start, but that's a good sign. It means we're close to the end. Layer 18 starts preparing the structure to close the arch, so the blocks begin to encroach on the portal area. We also bring back the decorations, so you'll notice the structure starts to become quite irregular. Here, I'll be repetitive, but your best companion will be the guide in the upper left corner, showing the placement of each block in detail. From here to the end, the structure will become more complex. In layer 19, we continue closing the arch and creating a very irregular shape. This same process will continue in layers 20 and 21, so focus and be very careful not to make any mistakes in block placement. Tip 1, remember symmetry. Tip 2, follow the guide on the left. As you might have noticed, here at the end of layer 21, I joined the two ends of each arch with iron bars. That's just to add some details and increase the complexity of the portal, making it more interesting. Later on, we'll add a bit more detail with trapdoors and candles, but for now it's not the focus. I just did it now because I jumped the gun. In layer 22, we start covering the Nether Portal. What does that mean? The end is near. The trick here is pretty simple. It's a big rectangle that covers almost everything, and its shape is only broken by the decorations, purple blocks around the structure. In the next layers, we continue with this rectangle, but notice that with each step we take up, it closes a bit more. That's what gives it the arch look and finishes off the structure. Once again, no secrets here, just follow the layer by layer scheme. One thing to note now, due to the decorations and more organic shapes, the portal loses a bit of its symmetry. That's why at the beginning of the video I said this portal was practically symmetrical, but not completely. They're just details. But hey, never underestimate the details. And here we are at layer 27. If you've made it this far, there's not much room for error anymore. The construction of the Nether Portal is almost finished, and the hard part is behind us. Now we basically just have to finish closing the arch. Almost there. The ornament expands a bit more while the stone part is practically closed off. It might not look so easy just by looking at it, but by this point you've already grasped the logic of the scheme in the top corner, so it'll be a piece of cake. Layer 28 joins the two ends with purple blocks and seals the portal for good. Now we just need to add a few more purple blocks here and there and it's practically done. Let's lower the camera so you can see the final result. Looks pretty cool, huh? I won't light it up yet, or it'll make too much noise. We can add a few more details as I mentioned before. Here, I'll place some candles at the base. Besides being decorative, they'll help make the place a bit safer. In addition to candles, we can cover the light blocks with trapdoors to make them less exposed and contrast less with the rest of the structure. Otherwise, they'll draw too much attention. Well, that's basically it. Some amethysts coming out of the ornaments will add a really nice touch too. Their purple color will go well with the purple of the Nether Portal when it's lit up, and that helps give it a more mystical touch. On the ground, you can use some darker blocks like black stones and the like, and the final result will be something like this. Guys, that's it. Hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps. If you didn't, send it to troll a friend. And until next time, bye bye dudes.